So where is South Africa in terms of the implementation of the use of ICT in the classroom? In 2011, the Department of Education in Gauteng actually provided schools with a strategy for the implementation, or should I say guidelines, for the implementation of ICT in teaching and learning. This guideline was provided by the e-learning directorate of the Gauteng Department of Education. I shall first provide you a basic overview of the guideline documents, and then once I've done that, we will look at a report from the Gauteng Department of Education on the implementation of this project. So, this is the guidelines on the management and usage of ICT in public schools in Gauteng. Firstly, the department acknowledged that ICTs and computers in particular can no longer be regarded as optional for teaching and learning. It's a requirement that learners become ICT capable. E-education requires that teachers, managers, and administrators in public schools have the knowledge, skills, and support necessary to integrate ICTs into teaching, learning, and administration. And the requirement to effectively manage ICT demands resources. So these guidelines are being provided by the Gauteng Department of Education to schools to assist them with their task. So firstly, the guidelines on the management and usage of ICTs. These are the goals or the sections in those guidelines. And you can look at them, you can look at the guidelines by downloading them from the internet. And it's a very useful thing to have a look at. As you can see, it provides goals and objectives, the application of the ICTs to support management and administration, then the applications of ICTs to support curriculum delivery in the school, the management of the ICTs in the school, roles and responsibilities, a framework for the school ICT policy, and a framework for the ICT development plan. And then there is guidance in setting up a timetable for school computer laboratories that include the community being able to engage and use the computers. And then finally, there are examples of school ICT policies and additional documents. So here are some extracts from the guideline. That is on managing ICTs in the school. And it is the responsibility of Gauteng Online, the teacher laptop initiative, that teachers need to take care of their laptops. Then there needs to be a plan to manage hardware and software, including an asset register, general management and maintenance, and so on. These have to be budgeted for within the school's budget, and it must include insurance. Then there is a section on data management about copyright, intellectual property, and piracy, and acceptable use policy for internet and web usages. The guideline also provides the roles and responsibilities of the school management team, the ICT committee, the ICT coordinator, and teachers. Then they talk about the school ICT committee, which needs to do planning, to identify where funding can be sourced. They must work with the senior management team, and they must schedule and monitor training for the teachers. The teachers should take responsibility for becoming ICT literate, for using ICTs for administrative tasks, and for integrating ICTs into their teaching and learning. So some of the skills they will need to get: computer literate, get technical support, and so on. Then here is the outline of the proposed framework for a school ICT policy. Developing a timetable for the laboratories in schools, which must include engagement with the community. And that is the title of the guidelines. So I hope you found this quite useful. The following information about the report that I'm going to be talking about actually came from the Gauteng Department of Education, and it is their ICT and e-education strategy and implementation progress. So it's a report on their progress. 48 slides, I've just extracted a few. Firstly, the context and the vision of the Gauteng Department of Education. and it wants to use ITC as a key part of their education transformation plan. They have 10 pillars for the transformation of education. One of them is ICT in education, and there are 6 pillars to ICT transformation. One is connectivity, content, capacity, infrastructure, support, and motivation. So those are the 6 pillars for ICT education only in their education transformation. And as you can see, there are 10, such as curriculum and assessment development, teacher provision and support, leadership and management, infrastructure development and maintenance, planning, finance and resourcing, social cohesion, school functionality, including community involvement, skills development, and access to quality early childhood development. So those are the GDE's 10 pillars for transforming education. So let's have a look at the 6 pillars of ICT in more detail. So the ICT and e-education strategy for education spells out 6 vital pillars for successful implementation and adoption of ITC in the teaching and learning process. Connectivity: all schools need to be linked to the GDE portal. The content: digital content will be made available through the portal for learners and teachers. In terms of capacity, the training of teachers on ICT curriculum and pedagogy. Infrastructure is the technical support and physical prerequisites such as power. Good luck with that. And secure environment for the ICT. Pillar 5 is support. IT services, including the South African School Administration and Management System. And Pillar 6, innovation, interbranch management and monitoring of the study, and an innovation group to foster implementation. So this strategy will be built on those 6 pillars. So what is this strategy? Firstly, technology can transform the classroom through different models based on certain pedagogical choices. So when we teach, each teacher is linked or has a certain teaching style. They have different mediums of teaching and how they present the content, how they configure the classroom, the layout of the classroom in groups, the subject being taught in the class. Is it a number of different topics all taught at once, or a single topic? It's a mix of learners in one class. And this is a mixture of grades and ages, and finally exercises, which is the formula in which most learners do more work. Now, there are 4 possible models. Minimal tech, like they are using in India, where learners use their cell phones and they come from rural, low-income households to learn English. The tech-enabled is what's happening in Malaysia. There's a smart school. They have computers, software, courseware that are in the classrooms and teaching and learning processes. Blended learning is where the learners spend 75% in the traditional classroom and 25% on computer-based learning and accessing computer labs. And then the radical transformation is a complete transformation of the school from the algorithmic ways to supporting individual learners. So those are the 4 different possible modes. Now, for the Gauteng Department of Education, the key implementation imperatives are that all GDE teachers must be highly skilled and deeply knowledgeable in their subjects. They will teach lessons that are digitally interactive, content presented via electronic resources such as smartboards and personal devices. Teachers will be able to facilitate learning at different paces. Learners will use engaging adaptive exercises and undergo digital assessment that will enable teachers to offer immediate help. And a paperless office will replace the cumbersome administration. However, technology should not be seen as a silver bullet. It will not resolve all the challenges. School administration needs to work and teachers need to have the required curriculum and teaching knowledge to implement the lesson. So the technology is only a catalyst. The teacher still needs their content knowledge and their pedagogical content knowledge. So in phase 1, this project was done in 2 phases. Phase 1, it was operationalized in
5 schools and 2 primary schools. This was the pilot. It was launched in January 2015, and there were 7,000 learners involved. The configuration included connectivity. Both teachers and learners had devices. There was the provision of content. Security and device management solutions were offered. Teachers were offered professional development, and they had maintenance and support. Now, phase 2 was then implemented on a larger basis, and this was quite successful according to the Department of Education in a number of ways, which include the following. Firstly, there were functional school and district-based ICT committees. Teachers were involved in peer-to-peer coaching taking place in some of the surveyed schools. There was successful implementation of ICT integrated matric revision programs. There was skills transfer to district officials in training and material development in ICT. There was a change of learner and teacher behavior. They had easy access to e-content, and they revamped and renovated schools to keep up with these changes. But there were also some challenges with phase 2, and these included the following. So, firstly, teachers in the classroom seem to only use the basic functionalities of the smartboard. Basically, it's a fancy blackboard. There was a lot of resistance to change by both teachers and leaders. Many teachers were fearful and intimidated because of their limited knowledge in terms of the use of technology, and this often affects teacher confidence. There were gaps identified in both the teachers and the parents' training needs, so the training did not meet their needs. The pace of teacher training was done too quickly, too fast. So basically workshops, I don't think the teachers had time to engage in their actual teaching with this training. There was a lack of credible data of a credible database system to record damaged, lost, and stolen devices. There was a lack of accountability by parents regarding the tablets at the disposal of their children, and the learners often used their tablets for non-educational activities. At the end of phase 2, the Gauteng Department of Education made a number of recommendations. Those recommendations included the first one being that both national government and provincial government secure the funding needed to roll out this project. The connectivity issues need to be resolved with all the key role players. The development of content to support the national curriculum be prioritized and should not just be textbooks. That they secure teacher union support for intensive teacher training that would exceed the regular hours, and that SAPs prioritize the reported cases of theft of devices and so on. I'm going to end this video by looking at the future of ICT in Gauteng's classrooms, especially with the COVID crisis. This article was written in June. Now, it was found in the Mail and Guardian, and one of the teachers in the article says that these are the classrooms of the future. And he was quite thrilled, and he joked that the learners now come to school on time for the connectivity and the Wi-Fi. He is the principal of Boitemalong Secondary School in Tembisa, and was one of the schools where this project was piloted. So, what are the key points to note in this article? Boitemalong is a non-fee paying school, so it was implemented there to bridge the digital divide. The school was part of the first few schools that piloted the move to e-learning. Since then, the classes have gone almost fully digital, with learners using government-issued tablets to access textbooks and notes and work. Teachers use smartboards to facilitate their classes. They have all their lesson plans, annual teaching plans, teaching resources, and videos loaded up onto the smartboards. Then, part of the province's initiative aims to ensure that all schools have connectivity through state infrastructure at a classroom level, as well as e-learning solutions and information and communication technology solutions. Gauteng Education MEC Panyaza Lesufi hopes that through the implementation of ICT solutions, the project will bring about change and excitement in the classroom experience, as well as improve the experience for both teachers and learners. The initiative was first launched in January 2015 in the 7 pilot schools. By July 2015, there were over 1,800 grade 12 classrooms at 377 townships that were equipped. By July 2016, the set rolled out to grade 11 classrooms. In 2017, the focus was on bringing the 83 fee-paying schools onto this project, and by 2018, the project focused on grade 10 rollout. According to the principal at Boitemalong Secondary School, it has enhanced teaching and learning, making it easier, and teachers are enjoying what they do. It has given learners confidence, especially in terms of using technology, and they've seen increased achievement. He also says his results have been improving since 2015 in subjects like maths and science. The students are doing very well at school, and the school's doing very well. And the system also provides the matric students in his school easy and cost-effective ways to apply to tertiary institutions. Now, according to the DA Shadow MEC of Education, Kume Ramalifo, students need to have these skills after secondary school. So he thinks that it's good because it develops skills for future employment. He raised concerns about the safety of devices, saying that criminals are now targeting schools. And he emphasized it was important to have an effective and proper strategy in terms of its long-term rollout. And he also stated that we need more training for teachers so that they know how to maximize these tools in teaching and learning. Now, the Gauteng Premier David Makura said in his State of the Province address, student performance, especially students from township schools in subjects including mathematics, science, technology, economics, and accounting has improved overall. The introduction of digital technology in the classroom has not only improved teaching standards, but also the digital skills of young people. And the introduction of digital technology has paved the way for new skills and forms of teaching to be developed. Now, one would think that Gauteng would be ready for the COVID crisis. But it highlighted the need for the Department of Education to ramp up online education. While the Department of Education has long championed online technology to bring about innovation in education and promote interactive learning, the outbreak took us by surprise, and it needs to be accelerated. The department failed to deliver on a quick transition to online teaching and learning, mainly because of a widespread lack of internet connectivity and a requisite infrastructure in most South African schools. This problem was exacerbated by the fact that only a few teachers had already been teaching digitally. So ICT education specialists said it is not sufficient to have sound online policies if they are not accompanied by a clear implementation plan and sustained teacher training. So that's the update.
So once again, thanks for joining me and have a good day.